in general, yeah, I think adaptability is like a must-have skill if you want to succeed in business or pretty much anywhere. Like forget just digital marketing, just anywhere. And I think my experience as an immigrant from Vietnam to the US was probably my first time where I learned to adapt. You know, for anyone who is wondering like, hey, what is this like one skill that I should focus on trying to master and practice? I would say it's growth mindset combined with learning how to learn.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to learn in order to constantly be adapting and applying new skills, acquiring new skills. And I'll just share like a personal example recently when I think I've done that. Right? I've been at Google for about 6 years, but I'm on my third role at Google. I've had 3 jobs at Google so far, right? The first job I had at Google was to lead our channel sales business. I guarantee you, I had never worked in tech before Google. I had come from like financial services and like a very traditional financial services company, right?
Yeah.
So I remember, you know, going up for my first job at Google without a tech background, and the first thing I had to learn was how Google Ads work. You had to know the product, right? And then eventually I had to learn it well enough so that I can work with a network of CEOs across Vietnam to help coach them in offering Google Ads to help small and medium-sized businesses grow. That's the opportunity, right? Like, it's okay if you don't know something now, just add the word yet at the end and you can just say, I don't know this yet, and trust that you will learn. The second job I had with Google was to do head of business development for all of Southeast Asia, right? So by now I knew what it was like to work in Vietnam. I had no idea what it was like to work in Indonesia or in Thailand, the cultural nuances, overcoming the language barriers, or how to do, you know, product partnership. Because before I was doing sales partnership and then I went on to do product partnerships, and I don't have an engineering background, right? But I had to learn like, how do API calls work? How do you design a minimum viable product? How do you beta test it? How do you take it to market? For that, I remember I went back to school. I like signed up for an evening online class with Co-op, which has an amazing program for like product developers. And then from product development, it then gave me a confidence to then go into now product marketing. But I'll be really honest, Dr. Wang, like now that I lead marketing for Google, and I have the advantage of knowing Google's product, and I have the advantage of knowing Vietnam, when I went up for the role, I still thought it took so much courage, like so much guts, because there were so many qualified, amazing talent who were all going for the position, right? And so I think all the stories that I shared were just examples of, you know, you don't have to be perfect or fully ready for the job. You just need to be willing to work really hard to do the job well. And that requires this hunger and this desire and this confidence that you may not know something yet, but you will learn. And so my number one advice is, if you want to succeed anywhere, just have that confidence and bet on yourself that, hey, if given the chance, you're going to put in the work and you're going to contribute your best, and your best is probably really good.
Yeah. And maybe you come from the different background than business. When you start the MBA, any difficulties? But I can see that how you learn how to learn, right? Yeah, that's something.
You gotta learn how to learn. I think that you gotta know how to problem solve.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you gotta convince other people you can do it.
Okay.
And so, if Dr. Wang, I can share with you. I can share how I got my first job in business. That would be interesting. Okay, so the story is I grew up thinking I want to be a doctor, like from the second grade. Since I was second grade, I told my dad I'm going to become a doctor. That's all I wanted to do. I graduated high school, and he even like put it in the newspaper. It was very embarrassing that I would one day become a doctor. And then that by my third year at Stanford, I just had a change of heart. You know, I had done research in hospitals, I've gone on medical missions, I've worked in operating rooms, and I knew by exploring that path that I could have done medicine, I could have been a doctor, but I wasn't going to be, I think, fully happy being exposed to blood, being exposed to human suffering. I have so much respect for doctors, immense respect. And it was hard for me to accept that. That's fine, I'm not going to become a doctor. So then I explored different jobs. Consulting was top of my list. And I remember my first job interview, and the interviewer asked, what makes you think you have the right skills for consulting? And he didn't mean it in a mean way, but it was a great answer. And the truth was, I hadn't done any internship. I had decided so late in my college degree to pivot that I wasn't on paper like all the other kids who had done internships and all that stuff. So I can just remember saying, I haven't worked in consulting yet, but my work as a pre-med student gave me the foundational skills that I think you would want and need in a consultant, right? Which is, I know how to listen to my patients very carefully to understand what their problems are, right? I love helping them solve their problems. And I do it in a way that makes them feel really comfortable to trust me with my recommendations. Like, isn't that what you want in a consultant? Mm-hmm. And I thought that answer was probably what got me the job, because nothing else on paper would have made me a strong fit like all the other kids. So that little story there, right, just shows that you just gotta bring that transferable skills wherever you go, like listen, problem solve, communicate, and you'll be fine.
Yep.